It is a marvelous Monday morning. Hi, Sonder family. I'm so glad to see you. You've been looking forward to this all day. Thanks, JA. We're glad you're here. Welcome to the Monday morning setup. I am Jennifer Ogilvy, and I live in Garland, Texas, which is outside of the Dallas Fort Worth area. And I get to be your facilitator this morning on screen. Joining me, you have Team Jennifer. We're usually here on Monday mornings with you. Jennifer Krippner's in Minnesota. If you can look, she's popping on to give you a wave, but look at those dark windows. She has some storms. I know we've got a couple of you from Minnesota that you're sitting in storm. So hopefully everything will be stable and we won't have any interruptions with your morning setup today. But if that happens, we have recordings for this week's weekly setup. I had the privilege of doing all three weekly setups. So I actually pinged headquarters this morning, said, just go ahead and put Saturdays up and call it done because I've done all three. So what a privilege to get to hang out with y'all. Make sure that your chat is set to everyone because that is how we communicate. And this is cameras off, mics off. I'm the only one that has the camera on or the microphone on, and you're welcome to just mute that and turn on your closed captioning if you need a little quieter moment. So glad to see you. Lots of familiar names. I love the Monday morning because we always start off with like 45, 46 people there at the get-go, and then it just keeps adding and adding and adding, like we're all getting our day going, right? So I'm really glad that you're here. I did put this little screen up for the beginning, like this little mental health check-in. Where are you right now? What are you feeling on this Monday morning? Let's just take a look, take a scan, think about, what that means for how we're starting our week. It's okay to be down. It's okay to be frustrated. We always say, come as you are. This is a safe place. Hopefully, after hanging out together and kind of thinking about what we want this week to bring our way, we'll be able to take some of those maybe lower feelings like frustrated or down and maybe look at that with a different mindset. But it's okay to come as you are. Not everything is rosy in life. It's just, it's okay to have those days. I always say your feelings aren't right and your feelings aren't wrong. Your feelings just are. So thanks for indulging that. Oh, Maggie, I bet you are tired. I don't a lot of driving in car that can make you feel really tired. And we've got some resetting that needs to happen. Oh, Kat, you've got some sad stuff in your life. So just embrace that and just be with that. And know that, you've got your Sonder family here hanging out with you. We can help carry that load virtually, sending some good juju into the world. Just because, this is a great community. Is there anybody here for the first time? I'm seeing lots of familiar names, but if you are logging in for the very first time doing a weekly social, we would just like to say, hey, welcome. You found your people. Just drop a me in the chat. No pressure. But we do gather for our accountability with one another. This helps us get our groove on with our journal and help to make our journey with our journal the best it can be. So, oh, you did your first monthly yesterday. Yay, Danielle. I know that was Katie all the way from Scotland. You got our international facilitator. Katie used to live here in Texas and now she's working in Scotland. So Danielle, welcome. And what we love about this, again, it is our accountability. Like we just set this appointment with ourselves, and it really does help us use our journals to the max. Would love for you, Danielle, to pop on Sonder Club afterward and talk about like what you felt as a very first timer going to your monthly and a weekly setup. And then all of y'all, pop in and say why we keep doing this week to week. Yes, please save the date if you are in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I laughed last night and said I also have 2 guest rooms if you want to hop on a plane. But we are going to have an in real life meetup in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in my community of Garland, and it's one of my favorite places that we're gonna meet. We're gonna have pie at Pie Falutin. If you need a fun rabbit hole to go down, go look at their social on Instagram or their website. You'll see the most delicious pies ever. But we have a private room. We're gonna be able to do a little journaling together. We're gonna be able to hug each other. I'm gonna do a raffle for a little gift bag that I'm putting together. So I'm super duper excited. But I'm not the only one doing this. So the others other than Katie, who's in Scotland, I said that's the social we all want to go to in real life, the Scotland one. But the other facilitators are figuring out dates that work in their world. So, watch for Jennifer Krippner in the Minnesota area. Bailey is out in Tennessee. She's working on one. Malika is in California. So we are going to try to do some live events, take our learnings, and maybe we can put that together and eventually have some representation going on throughout the US so that different communities can get together, maybe led by some of you after we figure out our learnings. So, yeah, Christine, I would love to fly to Florida and be there with you. So we're figuring this out. And then I was saying my daughter lives in Austin, so yeah, I might end up doing one in Austin, maybe like in the fall. Like go visit her and find a place. So anyway, we've got these in the works. But Jennifer dropped the chat in the chat the information for RSVPing so that I can be ready for you. Of course, another shout out to our personalized life coach. And I grabbed a screenshot from Sierra's post the other day. She's pretty active in our Sonder community. And I loved what she wrote because she is on a journey to stop smoking. And Jenny, our coach, she says, Jenny is all, I got you, boo. But what I loved about her post is that she wrote, Mayhaw, you probably prevented me from having a heart attack or stroke by 40. So thank you for this service. So it's like that one more level, that leveling up of really embracing your life and leading the life you want. So just, another shout out to that personal life coach. If you have any questions about that, Jennifer just dropped in the chat, the concierge at silkandsonder.com. They'll answer any questions you may have about the personalized coaching. I encourage you to reach out to them if you are considering doing this. And there is a code that you can use right now to get 50% off. So anyhow, and then, oh, Kelly, good. Yeah, May set up tonight. I'll be working tonight as the behind the scenes gal, and Maya's going to be leading you through that monthly setup. So we'll get to be together twice today. There are community guidelines. All of you who have been here know that we post these every time we're together. The main thing is this is a safe space. We need you to take care of yourself, but also make sure that you're doing things that help take care of others. So I'll just leave that so that you can take a look at it if you are brand new. And then we are wrapping up authenticity, this theme of really deep digging. This has been one of those biggies, for me anyway, this month. Sometimes they're fun and frivolous, and we just have fun journeying with play or that kind of thing. But this one's been one of the more serious ones that have really helped us um, dig in. And I've used this quote throughout the month from Brene Brown. We know her research, she did a lot on shame, on courage, and on authenticity. She's out of the University of Houston. And this quote just captures for me what it is. Authenticity is the daily practice. It's not just a one and done thing of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. And I just feel like that is, for me, the compass for my Silk and Sonder journey, my journey through life. we're going to finish up the month with a bonus mind map this morning. So if you're here for the first time, the mind map is a deeper dig into the theme, and it is a bonus. It's not anywhere in your journal. You get those bonuses by coming to these weekly setups. So if you miss one, you'll want to get on the YouTube channel and find, watch a repeat and just, get that bonus mind map question for each week. But this week is a bonus one, and we've got a good one. It's a good one. You're gonna like it. Um, the Rosebud Thorn Reflection, that weekly thing that we do, and then our weekly setup pages. So I know Kelly's like, I can't believe we're saying goodbye to April. January dragged on, and now the spring is just soaring. I can't believe we're almost in May. And I love the month of May because you'll hear me say it probably all month. Both of my kids are May birthdays. And so May is just a super special month because, all month I'll be thinking about, oh, in a week I will have done this and I was getting ready, a million years ago. Anyway, and so, yeah, and if it's your birthday, drop that in the chat. If you're a May birthday, let us celebrate you. So yeah, Carla's got some important people in her life. So there's a monthly setup tonight, Sherry. There's one tonight, and then there is one, is it, I think, let's see, I'm looking at my calendar. There's a setup tonight and tomorrow night and Wednesday night. Yeah. So you can capture that if you want to do a monthly setup. All right, back to the mind map. So I'm going to invite you to flip through your April journal. And on a notes page, a scratch piece of paper, maybe if, we probably don't have many notes pages left at this point. Maybe you find a little space in your May journal. Jot down 5 phrases or sentences that capture your most authentic self. So we've done a lot of digging in to our April, right, into this theme this month. And I want you to go back through that journal and look at the affirmations that you wrote, words from your intentions or your goals, maybe responses to some of those journal prompts. We were to write a letter to our younger self. Maybe there's a line in there that really captures your authentic self. Words, maybe there's something in your trackers you put. Maybe it's a gratitude reflection from your gratitude page. Anywhere in your journal is open for this. We have beautiful quotes on each of our weekly setups. Maybe one of those quotes speaks to you. We're going to take those 5 phrases and make a scrap poetry, a scrap poem. Today is actually a National Poetry Day. But we've done this at all of the setups this month. And so let me share mine really quickly. I called mine Authentically Scrappy. I was sharing with Jennifer. If I call you Scrappy, that is a very high esteem word in my world. I love scrappy people. I love people who figure things out and go about things in their own way. And so I just love the word scrappy. So I called my poem Authentically Scrappy, and I have a song lyric because I played What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish several times this month. So I started it off with What Was I Made For? My life is a celebration of energy, strength, and vibrancy. Courage doesn't always roar. That one was something from a sermon note that I took on Palm Sunday. Be still. I write that a lot in my journal. And then I had 2 affirmations. The second line is an affirmation in my last one. I am proud of my journey and the person I continue to become. So that's what my scrap poem ended up looking like. And I am going to let you have some time to flip through your journal and find those sentences, phrases, words that jump out at you that say, hey, this is who I am. As things pop up, feel free to share in the chat, and then we'll get going with our setup. You may or may not be finished with your poetry, but I want to encourage you to stick with the journal throughout the day and maybe come up with your poem. And I'd love to see your poem in Sonder Club if you're comfortable doing that. But I love the idea of this look back over all the bits and pieces of April. And I want to call out, Regina posted in the chat, I just didn't use April very much. And today I realize I think I avoided this topic of authenticity, and I get it. I get it. But like I was saying, this one was a pretty deep dig, and that's okay. Give yourself that space. We always say there will be the right time to work on it, right? This journal doesn't go away. Keep this one by your bedside. Work on it, while you're doing your May, your June, your July. Go work these prompts. Keep those prompts there because there will be the right time when you have discovery. And I think, realizing that now is very affirming because we do avoid things. Sometimes when things are hard, we don't want to do it. That's okay. Give yourself that space to do it. I always say the one theme that hit so hard for me but was so good was indulgence. And that was several years ago, and I still carry all that work I've done. I mean, it is like front and center, because I always felt like I was not worthy, and the idea of indulgence just was never in my vocabulary, and I grew so much through that. So it's you just do it when you're ready. It's okay. Give yourself that permission. But thank you for sharing that, Regina, and letting us all kind of feel that. Yeah, we're sisters in crime, and we got this for sure, for sure. So now let's take a look at our rosebud thorn reflection. This is that exercise we do on the weekly. I always consider it a gratitude exercise. The roses are the things that went great, that you're excited about, that brought you joy. They can be very small moments. It can be, I got out of bed when I didn't want to get out of bed. That's a rose. Those things that just really help you feel your best authentic self. And then the buds are the things that we're looking forward to. What's in your future? What opportunities are coming? Maybe it's days of celebration. It could be as simple as a new week. Those things that are yet to come. And then, of course, the thorn, the challenges, the yucky stuff of life that we carry with resilience, and we all have them. We have all three in our life. We just sometimes have to be still to notice them. So my page this week is the example of how one thing can be all three reflections, right? Y'all know my husband has been on this journey with his knees. We've needed to do this for over 10 years. He finally got on Medicare in November, so it was a little more affordable for us. And so here we are. Second knee happened last Thursday. I am celebrating that because finally, the bud is, that knee replacement means some really good things for him and for us as a couple. He's hopefully not going to be as grumpy. We're going to go do things, explore things, travel a little bit more. And then, of course, the thorn is, just the pain and getting better. He's much better today. We had a rough day a couple days ago, pretty bad. But also as a caregiver, right? And if you are a caregiver, fortunately mine will resolve as a caregiver, but some of you live with that caregiving responsibility, and that can be a thorn. But when we look at those thorns, I want you to think about what is the lesson I can take away from how I'm handling this thorn. And let's try to frame that out. So, y'all work on your rosebud thorn, and we'll get going with our setup afterward. And yeah, thanks. So the husband's a bad joint club, and I'm afraid I'm going to be right down the road with that. So I'm taking really good care of him so that he understands what a caregiver is supposed to do when it's my turn. I'll be back to check in with you in just a few minutes. All righty, that's our last rosebud thorn reflection for the month of April. Um, yeah, I think Carla was in Houston, and that's where I was in the Houston area most of my life, and I thought, "Oh, she's so close, but yet so far." Because I wish Houston were like an hour away and not 6. I would have driven over to see you. All righty, so now let's take a look at our weekly setup. Now, here we are in that transition week where um, we've got 2 journals. What do we do? The first is on Thursday. How do you decide what to do? So I wanted to show you the habit tracker of somebody who was at last night's, yesterday's setup, weekly setup, and they're going to use both journals this week. So they're going to turn to page 52 and 53 for April and page 26 and 27 for May. And they look pretty identical, but can you see what they did with their habit tracker? So for April, they're tracking the first 3 days and they've covered the rest of it up with washi tape. You could just put a big X. And then for May, they have covered up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You could also just put a big X so that you can transition into, finish off the month in one and start the new one in May. Now, I'm going to be starting in May because April was rough. Like you, I had many blank spaces, and like Anne Marie brought up, I do remind you that your blank spaces are part of your journey. That is just data. It is a piece of paper. So don't be, get in a headspace where you're sad about that. That means that at that time it just wasn't right to sit, right, and work on that journal. You were busy doing other things. You needed the rest. You needed some space. And so it just gives us some data. I love to see all my things checked off. But when I don't get it, okay, I just need a new reset, right? So, anyhow, all righty. So let's dig in. I'm not going to take whatever's going to work for you. I am going to start with it. I love that fresh, love a calendar, and I love a fresh new start. So I'm jumping into May. I'm going to remind you, we would love for you to share your weekly planner, any of these sections, your whole setup. Talk about what you're doing in Sonder Club because you inspire others. If you're here for the first time, I am going to show you a ton of examples for the first page of how to set up. I'll give you some space to work on it. Then we'll do the same thing for the second page. And I will be scrolling back through the slides as you're working and the music's playing. So don't panic, but grab a screenshot or take a picture if there's something that speaks to you. And maybe you're looking at trying something different in your journal this week. You're invited to use the pages just as they are set up, but we also have a lot of examples of how people repurpose, and we'd love to see those in Sonder Club. So I love this graphic for just some ideas. Maybe think about incorporating somewhere in your journal this week. There's a lot of words on here, but the thing that caught my attention was the first one about food happiness, because I have an interesting relationship with food and my emotions. And I love the idea of food happiness. What a reset for thinking about food. So that's why I put this up here and captured this one. But there's a lot of really good things in this graphic that we might want to consider adding somewhere in our journal this week. And again, I'll go back through so you can capture some of those if you want. Here's a couple of examples from y'all of a complete setup. The page is ready to go. You can see that the one on the left isn't doing goals this week. They are leaning into a to-do list in your goal space. And then in their to-do space, they've written a weekly poem. And today is that poetry day. Maybe you find a favorite poem. They are just tracking. There's no goals with their habits and activities down there. They're just going to do a straight tracking. They're doing a more and a less for how they want to feel. The one over on the right just did a less something, less irritated. The 3 goals are very basic goals, and then the to-dos are tied directly into that. And then Also, no goals set for the tracker. They're just going to track with hearts. But I also love the weight tracker is a gentle way of checking in with self without getting bogged down in numbers. So just those arrows up, down, and level. So I thought that was really lovely. Oh, Sherry, I'll go back. I'll go back so you can grab that. Not an exhaustive list. I always share this with y'all. These are things that we've seen incorporate into that journal. One of mine is a garden tracker. I always have a garden tracker this time of year. Obviously, I don't really need that in December, so I have something else, and I put that in my shopping list is always changing. Usually has a little bit of a bingo. Here are some fun days about our week, and today is Great Poetry Reading Day, so go back and read that poem that you wrote. But if you want to just celebrate your week somehow, someone actually used their meal tracker for meal planner for just celebrating every day. So that could be a fun thing to incorporate. You can always Google that. You know, we've got May the 4th coming up next Sunday, the Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So let's start. How do you want to feel this week? Think about how you're feeling right now, maybe, or how your week went last week, and maybe there was a negative feeling. Let's embrace that and think about what we need to do to kind of counter that. That's a really great place, starting point for your feeling. You can use one word, more words, more less, more something, less of something, stickers, pictures, quotes, whatever speaks to you. Drop, I love Linda, Snail Girl Spring, slow but steady. I love that. You guys drop in the chat. What are you trying to encapsulate for the week? What is your mindset? What is the feeling that you need? Put that in the chat because your word may be exactly the word that someone else is looking for. And we're going to take those words into our goals and our to-dos and our habits. Remember, your goals are your whys, and the to-do list is how you get there. And the to-do list will never end. You mark something off, you put something back on, but your goals might, right? It might be this week, it might be in a year, but your goals will eventually end. Thank you for dropping in. I'm seeing grounded, get done, energized, going with a sticker, dedication, work, yes, patience. Love those. Strong. Finish strong for April and start strong for May. I love that. Magic, amused. Now, you don't have to set up three goals. You can repurpose this space to work for you. Y'all know I struggle a lot with rhythms and routines because I am retired and I retired from a school life. So my days had always been terribly structured. And so every once in a while, I will do my rhythms and routines in these spaces instead of setting goals for myself just to get myself back on track because I'm not good on my own. I need that reminder. So here's some examples of maybe not doing three goals, but setting it up this way. And then you can go check that intentions page, go look at undone goals. What do you want to bring forward? If you've got a couple of outstanding things, maybe this is your week is to just get it done, get them done, and finish up with those goals. It says it's easy as ABC, right? Some no goals. You need to create some boundaries. Lots of folks will do one, take that feeling word that they have, and then their three goals directly are guided by that feeling for the week. So there's some examples of what that looks like. And then when in doubt, set yourself up with three categories and just plug something in for each one of those. There's some examples of that. And then you can see the one in the upper middle. I love those three categories because it's a daily goal of checking in early, midday, and evening, and very mindful goals for the week. But I love that they've broken that down into a goal for early, of the midday, and then evening. Those three goals every day. We've got, some more examples there. You can have one goal if that's what you really need to focus on, or four goals like the one that you see on the right. Then our goals can also directly influence our to-do list. And last night, a lot of people loved the idea there on the left. One thing I must do, 2 things I want to do, and then a reflection of 3 things I am proud of. And so setting yourself up for that each day. And then the one over there on the upper right, you can see they've got self, home, and productivity, but the home goal has a little tracker built in there so that they are doing that daily check-in, and we'll check that off. The one below that, the goals are actually in the to-do box next to that ta-da space to celebrate the things that weren't on the to-do list, but that you did. And they made a little bingo space using the convenience of that grid. So, oh, Sherry, you got a grandbaby coming. I love that. And then the need, want, hope to do. That's a great way to frame out your to-do list, as well as using the Eisenhower matrix. If something's super long and you've got a ton of stuff to do, pop that into an Eisenhower matrix. I had taken on a whole bunch of stuff several weeks ago, and I sat down and put all my things to do in this box, and it really helped me, again, focus, use my rhythms and routines in a very intentional way, because I was focusing then on the important and urgent things, and I was able to figure out what wasn't quite as important or quite as urgent, and to help sort all the things out. So that's a very good tool. Love this graphic. 35 easy 10-minute tasks. So if you're trying to make your to-do list and you just feel very overwhelmed, maybe this will help guide that. I laughed. I said, all of these tasks need to be done in the Ogilvy home. But this might be a great thing to put on your to-do list, to put in a habit and activity tracker, or maybe to do like a cleaning list over on your next page. Some inspiration there for you. And then the not to do list. Always love creating spaces with taking away the things that are not serving you. The idea of the to-do list there that says do this and don't do this. I love that. So, don't procrastinate, don't postpone fun. Don't zone out on the phone. Sometimes we need to see that, write that, put power in those words to make sure that we're getting it done. And then that habit and activity tracker. If you're here for the first time, we've got that main monthly habit tracker at the front of your journal. Those are the things that we want to do most days of this month. The one that's here in the weekly can have those same habits and activities on them. Absolutely. Or you can design it to reflect the week that you're having. If you're looking for some habit ideas, here's a non-exhaustive list, but lots of stuff that I've seen you put in your journal. So there's some inspiration, but also here's what some of these spaces can look like in your journal. And the nice thing about this is you can actually circle the days that certain things need to happen, like you see those examples there. Like if you have carpool twice this week, maybe, you circle the carpool days so that you don't forget, and it keeps you focused on that. So this one can be used in a little bit different way than the monthly habit trackers. You can set goals, like you see the examples here. Some folks set goals, or you can just straight up track it, get some data. Don't worry about setting goals. You can make it fun and gamify it by doing kind of a countdown. The one in the right on the middle, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It just makes it a little more fun to do it. You can have one activity, you can have no activities and use this space for something else, or you can fill out all the lines. It's really about taking what you need. Um, a, this person there on the left, this example, one of their goals for the week was to build systems. They have used this whole habit and activity tracker for their PM systems, their rhythms and routines for the nighttime. So I loved that example, just really leaning in. Oh, is that you? I love that. Thank you, Myra. It just really helps you focus on that. So perfect. Or maybe you're talking about in the chat. I don't know. Anyway, I thought this was a brilliant idea. And then here's some ways to calm down that take low energy. This is from our Instagram page, so be sure to follow that. So let me stop, put on some music. I'm going to scroll back to the beginning of all this section, and you can grab screenshots if you want. Let us know what you're doing in your journal. Are you trying anything new? And then we'll go to page 2 and we'll finish up. Okay, hopefully you've got a good idea of what you want this first page of your setup to look like. Let's hop over to the second page. And I'm going to, again, go through all of these really quickly and then put on some music so you can finish up this page. But as we know, this page tends to get repurposed a lot because we've got just these great flexible spaces. So there's not a right way or a wrong way to do it. You can see that someone is repurposing the meal plan into their 7 types of rest, and someone else is going to just do a daily reflection on what happened today. There's a quote of the week in the shopping list on the right and a big fun sticker on the left. The Mind Body Health Plan, I've actually got this blown up in that section, so we'll be able to take a closer look at that graph that's written there, so that's going to be checked off. And then, of course, we have the I am loving. We want to make sure that we embrace that. So let's stop and take a quick look at the meal plan. I usually include this in my setup slides just because it's 3 ways of embracing that meal nutrition idea. So you can use that as your meal planner, as a tracker for macros or planning what you're going to eat. But there's also a ton of ways to just use these spaces differently. We love to see the affirmations there, wardrobe planning, et cetera, et cetera. I'll show you a ton. This was actually Kim L's example that she posted in Sonder Club, and I really loved it and wanted to point this out. So James Clear has this quote: "The idea behind Make It Easy is not to do only easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run." And I loved this meal tracker, this repurpose, because what Kim did was she paired things together. She habit stacked, basically. So she was going to be doing things, putting them together, making it fun, making kind of gamifying chores, making things happen. So you can see, like on Saturday, she's going to do a call to her mom, which is important, right? That connection to someone important in your life. That's a great activity to track. But she's going to do it while she mops the floor. So she's getting, two for the price of one. When she bakes banana bread on Thursday, then her goal is to clean the whole kitchen until it's out of the oven. Just like work, 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 and really focus on that. And I like the intentionality of pairing those things and then putting them together. When we're intentional with what we have to do, write it down, commit to it. It just helps us be so much more successful, right? I know, right, JA? It's so good. So I'm going to sit kind of with some of the to-dos I have and see what I can pair with those habit stack so that I can just feel really good about the things that I got done. So I really wanted to share that with you. Here's some more meal plan stuff. I'll go back through these so that you can maybe capture an image that works for you. The Mind Body Health Plan, I always call this the selfish space. What are you going to do for yourself this week? The stressful day to-do list, I've shown this a couple of times because this is like we're focusing on stress this month. But we also have a bingo board. So if you are not planning to go to the bingo social next, I think it's maybe Friday, I can't remember, but it's coming up. Maybe you capture some of these in that bingo board that's in your journal this week. And then again, just a ton of different ways to set this space up to focus on you. The one in the bottom left is actually from that whole page example that I shared with you when we went to this page. There's just all these things that they're going to do for mind, body health: read a book, take a hot bath, meditate, go for a walk, and just kind of tracking that through the week. So some really good ideas, but also done in that little idea of a mini tracker. Again, we're talking about rhythms and routines. Look at the one there on the bottom right. Um, the one at the upper right, you'll see this again on the alliteration day. So motivated Monday, talk it out Tuesday, walking Wednesday, and then putting something in there. And I'll show you that again with our days. I think rest is definitely an activity. It is a verb. It is something we need to lean into. Jennifer is putting some information up, a little quiz that you can take to see if you are lacking in an area and you need to focus on a particular type of rest. Maybe you need some creative rest. So every day this week, you will do something that helps you embrace that creative rest part of your life. Or maybe you kind of play around with focusing on a particular type of rest each day. So it's kind of like, what do you need in your life? But I think we forget rest is not the absence of activity, but the presence of peace. It is definitely an activity that we do. And I was shamed for taking rest as a kid, indulging in rest. And so that's been a hard lesson for me to learn that rest is good and it's an activity and it's a reset. And you don't have to be productive all the time. Um, so some more ways of setting this up is maybe a mini journal reflection. Again, what are you going to do for yourself each day? There's the alliteration days, got that graphic there of how someone is going to do. Frustration-free Friday, their activity is a movie night. Sassy Saturday means they're going to a Sonder Social. I love, love, love that. And then our shopping list, lots of examples here. We love that little grid. So certainly not all exhaustive. If you are celebrating a birthday, I highly recommend creating a birthday bingo for your week. There's my garden tracker over there in the upper right, and then my rhythm and routine for a good night tracker that I did many months ago. There's a birthday bingo. Maybe this is a doodle space like what you see in the left bottom there. And then what are you loving? And for me this week, I am loving puppy butts because I'm babysitting my little grand dog, and she is the best hider in the world. She only hides half her body, and then I'll go, "Where is Ellie?" And that little tail will wiggle. It's so cute. So I've done a lot of talking, a lot of examples. I'm going to go back through all of these while you work on this, and then we'll finish up and close our time out. This hour goes by so fast. Let us know what you're using and doing on your page. I'm so glad that you carved out time to hang out with us this morning. I hope that you are excited about this last few days of April and embracing the idea of a brand new month. Drop in the chat as we say goodbye. What are you loving this week? It was so, so good to see you, Sonder family. Have a good one, and I'll see you maybe tonight at the monthly setup.
I love me. I love me. I don't know about you, but baby, I love me. Now everybody say, oh, I love me. I love me.
They gon' say all kinds of things. They'll make jokes about my name. They gon' try to clip my wings, but I'm gon' fly. They'll try to play me like a game. I bet they're too scared of the fame, but I can see it clear when I'm looking in the mirror saying God made me just right.
I love me. I love me. I don't know about you, but baby, I love me.